She later started saying pretty unkind things like, well, my boss told me not to waste my time on idiots who are just time wasting and don't really want to sell anyways.
Wow. Welcome back to This Is Actually Real Estate, where we sit down to share stories and hard-learned lessons from working in real estate, all from experiences you just can't make up.
It feels like forever since I sat down here with you guys and with my co-host,
Samantha Zenad.
I know, it's been a while.
It's been since November, and we're now in, what are we in, February?
February.
Oh my gosh.
Can you believe it?
No. I feel like I've aged like 3 years in those past couple months.
I think we put Benny's out there, and then we're like, you know what, we're good.
We're done. It was such a good episode.
Yeah, might as well go out on top.
Go out and bang. We're done.
Well, today we wanted to do something a little bit different. We wanted to, instead of having a guest like we usually do, we wanted to kind of open it up to the public in a sense, and actually go onto Reddit and read some stories for ourselves and see if we can make sense of them or see where we stand on the matter.
Yeah. I feel like I couldn't put it better myself, David.
All right. Well, so today we're on Reddit, and we went to the thread, Am I the Asshole? And
which I never knew about.
Yeah.
Apparently it's a thing. So I'm so excited now that I'm just going to be like at home looking all these stories up all the time now.
Right. Well, I knew about it, but I didn't ever think to look at real estate either. So this has been like an interesting little experiment that we're doing here.
Yeah.
So we're on the Am I the Asshole thread. And with that being said, I guess we want to say that we are just reading these.
Yeah.
You know, this is not our choice of words at points. We might react, but whatever is written in these is not
necessarily how we feel.
Or how we speak.
Yes. Yeah.
So with that being said, let's just dive right into it. So this one is, am I the asshole for not pressuring my friend to let my wife be his real estate agent? So for not pressuring my friend to let my wife be his real estate agent.
I like this already because I feel like I go through this pretty regularly. Where like I have friends and family that I'm like somewhat close with, and they're like, you know what, you're still kind of new. I don't know if I trust you, and I have these other connections, and I've known them forever, and like I can just see this happening so easily.
Right, and it's like I feel like there's some agents that get really personally offended. Like they see maybe their neighbor or, you know, someone they haven't talked to in 7.5 years list with someone else. And they're
or
like,
7.5 months or weeks. Sometimes it's just like, wait, I'm sorry. I thought like, I don't know. There's a lot that goes into it. Like I totally get it. If you're a full-time agent, like this is how you survive. Yeah. I do understand why you get sensitive, but also, you know, are you putting yourself out there? And if you are you actually coming off as competent? You know what I mean?
Right.
Like,
yeah. In one sense, it's like, don't come between a man and his meal or a woman and her meal. But then, you know, is it like, well, they might have not gone with you for a reason. You know?
Yeah.
There's plenty of real estate agents out there. So with that being said, let's dive into this one. So it begins. My wife and I have recently moved to a new city where we don't know many people. One of the people we do know, and who was instrumental in me getting hired at my new job, is an old college friend of mine, who my wife had never met before moving here. So his wife doesn't know this guy, all right?
And he's already kind of important to them because they don't know many people, they're in a new area, and he helped him get this job.
Right.
So this is like a very pivotal person in their little world right now.
Yeah, so my wife has decided to change career and try her hand at real estate. My friend had mentioned in past conversations that he and his family wanted a bigger place, but the market was too high at the moment and they want a particular house in a particular suburb. So they are fine staying put in the moment. My wife, having worked at a firm for all of 2 days, asks me to ask him if she could make inquiries for them and basically be their realtor. Okay, you know, not an outrageous thing to ask, right?
No.
She repeatedly said to me, no pressure if you feel weird about asking. I did. And it's fine if the...
Love that honesty.
I love how he sprinkled that in.
I did.
I did. And it's fine if they say no, et cetera, et cetera. I don't really like mixing friends with business, but I asked him anyways, and he basically said he's already has a realtor and that he's used in the past, and that through this realtor he has first dibs on the next property in the suburb that comes up. He says they are super rare. Is that a thing? First dibs?
I don't necessarily, well, it depends. I mean, like if he's hooked up with a builder, then yeah, it could be first dibs. But also, it kind of just goes back to that whole like truly who's a better fit for the job, which is so tough. Like I feel for her because I'm still like a newer agent. And so I really get that and I really resonate with it. But it is such an emotional purchase. You're purchasing your home. You know what I mean? Like this is where you're going to live. This is where you go to rest and like to be with your family and to just
taking
relax.
on a lot of debt.
Yeah.
Too.
And all the debt. So you want somebody that you trust. And like typically, like it's just hard because either they aren't ready or they don't know you well enough or they don't know if you're capable of it or they have somebody in mind. So that's kind of how it can be so difficult to kind of break into this industry.
Right. So, and especially in a suburb that apparently is this rare, you know, it's good to have a connection. So he goes on. When I told my wife this, that they had the first dibs and everything, she later started saying pretty unkind things like, well, my boss told me not to waste my time on idiots who are just time wasting and don't really want to sell anyways. Wow. However, she also took aim at me, saying that I should be more supportive of her new career and try to help convince my friend to let her sell his house. Okay. I mean, then again, we got to realize this is coming from one side of the story.
Yeah.
I got the feeling he was being polite to me when he said no the first time, and he is actually not wanting someone with 3 days experience selling his $1.1 million home. And he's one of the only people that I know in this city, plus a colleague. I don't feel it's a good idea to put any more pressure on this. For this reason, my wife says I'm not being supportive and therefore an asshole. Is she right?
Okay, well, here's the thing. If you are that emotional over it, then why aren't you calling him? Like, you have the opportunity. And, like, it's interesting because, like, my partner is not in real estate and they are in sales, though. So they kind of understand that. It sounds like this person, the writer, is not in sales. And, like, people who aren't in sales, I feel like it can be difficult to be salesy. Because, like, to be salesy, you put yourself out there and you basically ask for business.
Yeah.
Which I think is fair. I really understand him and how uncomfortable he probably feels. But I still think I think it'd be fair to give her the option. Like, here's the contact. If you really want this, make that cold call. You know, put yourself out there. Make sure you have, you know, your facts straight. Like, have a CMA, be able to talk about the suburb that he wants and, like, know what's going on. Don't just call it and be like, I deserve this. Like, if you actually support it with, like, information on where they want to move and how you can help sell this home and, like, get them this fair price, then, I mean, like, why not? But it sounds like this person, like, this lady's just throwing a temper tantrum, and that's not really.
It does, and it's like, you know, am I the asshole? I don't think he is. Like I gotta remind myself at least that this is obviously from his point of view, and he posted on a thread, "Am I the asshole?" So maybe he wants to be, but like from the facts that I'm seeing, it's like, no, I don't think so. I mean, it's like 3 days experience selling his $1.1 million home. I wouldn't, you know, if someone was a new agent or whatever, like, you know, I have not pocket listings, but like, I have leads and stuff, you know, and I'm not going to give it to one of the newer agents.
Right.
You know, I want to give my referral to someone that I think is competent, like you were saying, not someone who has had 3 days, and 3 days experience. And if it was like a $1.1 million home, you know, especially as we go into a different market here, you know, where you got to have some tact, and, you know, it's not just you're going to get a bunch of offers right away.
Yeah.
Over asking. So, yeah, I don't think he's the asshole.
I mean, defending her, though, I do feel like he is an asshole because he's saying things like, with 3 days experience. Okay, let's say you're a brand new agent, but you're on a team, and this team is like huge producers. People have been in the industry for 30 years, and they're doing amazing. Why does it matter that you've been in the industry for 3 years? You have all these people supporting you who are going to kind of guide you through this experience. So I do think that was a very low blow. Yeah,
he does frame things really, you know.
Like, it's absolutely outrageous that this would even be an option. So, you know.
Having worked at the firm for all of 2 days.
Yeah.
You know,
this is definitely in the heat of the moment, which I get, but.
Right. Well, let's look at some of the comments. Original poster has offered the following explanations for why they didn't think he might be the asshole. I did not pressure on my friend to agree. by not putting more, so they go on to say, by not putting more pressure on him shows that I'm not supportive of his new wife's career, or my wife's career, sorry, or that I will help keep the sub engaging. What?
Well, what I would say with like by not putting pressure on him, that's what they said. By not putting pressure on my friend, I didn't help her career and I'm not being supportive. Let's take this whole pressure mentality out of it. If my partner came to me and was like, I really want this opportunity, I would give them the contact information. Maybe I wouldn't give them their personal cell phone number.
Right.
I'd give them the office number and they can figure out how to get that personal contact information and reach out to them. And just, again, you only have a certain amount of time to make a first impression. So if you get that person on the phone, through an email, whatever, lay it all out there. And if you're eloquent and you know what you're doing, chances are they'll probably at least acknowledge you. And at least give back, like, I really appreciate your expertise and, like, your information on my home in this process. I still have to be loyal to this person for X, Y, and Z. But, maybe they'll refer you to someone.
Right. And if you hand it with a certain elegance and grace, or professionally at least. But it sounds like, the boss wasn't leading her in the right way, saying like, well, just screw this person, idiots, blah, 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 all that language. It's like there's not a good leader in that situation either, which, this comment from Tata's, your wife was manipulative, entitled, and an overall jerk. Wow, she's a beginner, kind of what we were saying, the beginner thing, but still, your friend already did you. So they're really on this guy's side. But then, your wife sounded unprofessional too. If her boss told her not to bother with the suburb, there's no reason to want to work with and I guess that could be what the boss was saying, just like, let it go. And it got, she kind of put her own spin on
we have experiences with that too. We have an office that's in a specific area where it's very difficult to break into, and there's like different suburbs and different parts that like it's almost impossible unless you've grown up or you've been there, you've married into a family from there, and you've raised your kids there. And I can understand a boss being like, you know what, for the difficulty of this listing and your experience level and just what's going on right now with our office, it doesn't make sense to go after this.
Right. And it's like, that listing, you'd be getting like a minimum wage salary for a year, just from that one listing. So it's like, that's kind of, I love the goals. I love them. But, it's to be mad that you didn't get it, with the background is another thing. But I think we should move on to the next one.
All right. Is it my turn?
It is your turn.
All right. So mine is, am I the asshole for canceling a transaction?
Yes.
Okay, so I should just put a little warning out there. I have not read this yet, so we're all going through this together. So let's first start by saying I will not use actual names. We love that for you. Around a year and a half ago, I lost my father in a horrible motorcycle accident.
0 to 100 right away.
We're really going for the heartstrings really quickly.
Yeah.
After a series of legal probate court proceedings, I have one executor of the estate. He had out the land where we had lived, 4.6 acres, under the name of an LLC, which we both owned equally. This was the only thing keeping me from having the property and the ability to become an executive of the estate from being ripped from me.
Ripped from me?
Ripped from me, so we're emotional about this property. Fast forward to about 6 months ago, in a community group page, there is a scrap guy named Bucko Gilly. Let's just take a moment and appreciate that name. Also, this person has said, I'm not using the actual names. I love the creativity.
They went to Bucko Gilly?
Bucko Gilly.
I wonder if that's close to what...
I hope it is. Who has a very mixed rep. His house burned down, causing him to lose a lot of his tools and his dogs.
Oh.
His dogs.
Could have left that out.
Again with the heartstrings. I start working with him to help me clear the property of scrap vehicles just so I can sell it. I can't bear to live there, not alone, but even with someone else, it'd be hard for me for my MH.
Mental health.
Mental health, love that. Okay, this is a mutually beneficial situation, and I sell him a majority of my father's expensive tools and equipment for piss cheap.
For his father's very expensive tools.
Yeah, and equipment. A lot was sold. The previous interactions I had with him to this point were positive, so when he asked to buy the simple barn shed my father had built, I agreed. I asked him for $1,000, dirt cheap, but cheaper than the build cost alone, and I told him he would need to move it sooner than later due to me attempting to sell the property. He paid me $500 up front, and we agreed the shed would be stationary until he either gave me the other half of the payment or he brought my tools that I was planning on keeping to the city about 60 miles away. Tools I couldn't fit in my car, like my great-grandpa's welder, my air compressor tank from Husky, etc. This was in late August.
Wow.
Yeah. This past weekend, I got word from Mike, my family lawyer, who has been doing all this shit pro bono. He called me to inform me that his real estate contract had successfully listed the property and it would be closing for sale on Monday. I scramble because I wasn't expecting that and tell Bucko that that I would be giving his $500 back as he had nearly 5 months to get payment to me or move my tools. Cue the man meltdown.
Man meltdown.
I think that needs to be on some t-shirt or something.
Cue the man meltdown.
Cue the man meltdown. Him saying he was going to move it tomorrow without paying me, and if I had an issue, he was going to file legal action against me, which would, well, fuck up the property sale. Okay, so again, just to reiterate, I'm reading this off, but it says, cue my autistic freakout, which has me calling
Samantha.
Which has me calling between a lawyer, Mike, and a good neighbor of 5+ years, Donnie. Because I need help and legal advice on what I needed to do, he ended up taking the $500, but need to know, am I the asshole?
There was a lot there.
There's a lot to unpack
There's a
in
lot
that.
to unpack.
So let's start from the beginning.
Yeah, so, for going back on a sales deal. So I know what I did was legal, just not necessarily morally right. So that's just like, they need to... Interesting. I'm glad he prefaced that.
Again, there's a lot of emotions in this. There's a lot to unpack because this person has lost a parent.
And a dog.
And a dog.
At least one dog. Or his dogs, plural.
Plural, multiple dogs.
Yeah, there's harm to his mental health, he's saying, and, it's...
He's trying to get rid of this property. They're trying to just, like, move past this entire situation. So I understand, like, the urgency behind, like, you can have this, here's my price, I don't care really what I sell or what I make it from this, I just want it done in a timely manner.
Not to mention they're taking care of funeral and all this different stuff, presumably at this time. So, but, like, I love how the tools was, like, the biggest issue. Maybe it was the only issue. If that's your only issue, then, whatever. But I guess, can we expect people to be sympathetic, When money's involved, it's, like, sympathetic about your...
I do just find with, like, real estate and stuff like this, like, unfortunately, you have to be a nag. Just like a reminder, I need you to move this out. Like, I need this money. I need this moved out by this time. And, like, because people get busy and they forget and whatever, but, like, then these man meltdowns, quote unquote, are less likely to happen if you can look back and be like, look at all the times that I reminded you. Like, you had 5 months and you had 25 texts from me and all these emails. Like, I don't know. Again, that's totally up to you. If you're like, I have other priorities, then don't be worried about if you're an asshole. Just be worried about getting through this. Yeah.
I mean, and there's agents that, like, one that we know who, like, they're not cleaning their garage out. She'll go over and clean their garage.
Right.
Take care of it. But yeah, I mean, this is a tough one. I mean, I kind of spaced out in the middle of it, not going to lie, but...
I could tell, and I'm fine with that. But based off what you took in, do you think this person is the asshole?
No, I think he at least tried to do everything he could.
I think this was, like, a lot less of a big deal. I don't think he's an asshole either, or they're an asshole. I think it's just kind of a crazy circumstance. I think there's a lot, like, again, there's just a lot of loss happening and a lot of, like, probably uncomfortable feelings and, like, this bucko going nuts.
Yeah, I mean, he extended it for 5 months.
Right.
I don't know. I mean, and then, so here are the explanations, just reiterating. He went back on a business deal because it had been extended for almost 5 months on last minute notice. And then it was last minute for Bucko. And I genuinely feel a bit of guilt for doing so, but I couldn't wait any longer. He called me an asshole, among other things. So, some of the comments are like, NTA, I'm not sure what that means, but he had plenty of time to complete your transaction and didn't, which is crazy since you were giving him such a cheap deal for, might I remind you, very expensive tools.
Very expensive. I remember reading very a couple of times.
Yeah. And then another person, Madame Defarge.
I love these names.
Defarge.
No, it's Defarge.
Defarge. I'm glad. So much certainty.
Yeah, it's Defarge.
Without going into a long treatise about whether something that is legal can still be immoral, when it comes to rescinding a commercial transaction between unrelated parties, the law ought to govern. That's the thing. Why didn't they have something in there? Like a sundown clause or something.
Right. I mean, I feel like, again, it was a very emotional time in the seller's life.
Right.
So I think they just were like this.
But his buddy was representing him, no?
Yeah.
So.
But he wasn't paying his buddy.
Oh, that's true. Yeah, you get what you pay for, I guess.
You do. You get what you pay for, guys.
Is this the original poster? No, this is okay.
This is
YTA,
all your fault.
This is all. Oh, I see. YTA means yes, the asshole. So, and then NTA means no, the asshole, not the asshole.
Oh, look at us learning all the things.
This was all your fault. From Minute Patient.
I mean, it's probably
Patient.
Bucko.
That's probably Bucko.
It's probably Bucko on here being like, I'm so over this, and I'm getting on
Gilly.
here and sharing my feelings.
It's all I ever hear is the stupid, please expand on why you believe so. Okay. Not the asshole. How are you possibly an asshole in this situation? Dude had a ton of time to move shit around. Moving forward, though, put timelines on your deals. That's really, yeah. You're not the asshole. You're just the...
I mean, it's just a life experience.
But
yeah, I mean, truly all things should have, like... I think something written, and keep in mind, like, a text is something written too. But, like, have something written, like, yeah, we can agree to this price. It must be gone by this day. And, like, whatever details needs to be written down and kind of sent over.
That's the thing. This is great. I'm glad we did this. Wow, that's something. And if you guys go to the Am I the Asshole thread, there's some interesting cover art at the top.
Yeah. We're living for it.
But either way, let us know what you guys think. If you guys are on our socials, on our Instagram, on our Facebook, let us know what you think. Is this guy the asshole with Bucko Gilly? Is the wife or the husband of the wife who's a realtor an asshole or not? Let us know. We'd love to listen.
We want to hear your responses.
And honestly, what would be great? If you guys want us to read out something, if you're an agent or something involved in real estate and you have a story that you want us to read and react to, we would love to react to it. So send it in. This is actually realestate@gmail.com. You can reach us at and send it over. And we might actually read it on a podcast. You never know.
You never know.
You never know. But with that being said, it's good to be back. I don't know about you.
It is good to be back. Yeah, this was fun.
This was, and it was a little different, but I think we'll probably do something like this again. It helps because guests are hard to pin down sometimes. So, and realtors.
I know.
And you are one, but you're
We're
here
so
every time.
flaky.
You're here every time. So, anyways, with that being said, we want to thank you for joining in and tuning in to This Is Actually Real Estate, and we will see you next time.
Thank you. Bye.